Plastic waste in the oceans can be fatal for animals. In this video, you will learn how plastic waste gets into the oceans, what the difference is between micro and macroplastics, and what effects it can have on animals. At the end of the video, you will learn why garbage in the oceans is also dangerous for humans. Welcome to Erklärwürdig, worth explaining. Plastic gets into the oceans in a variety of ways. For example, through improper waste disposal. Plastic waste from households, industry, and agriculture gets into the ocean via rivers or directly. Around 80% of the plastic in the oceans comes from land. Improper waste disposal and a lack of environmental awareness mean that the garbage ends up in rivers and is then transported to the sea. Tourism also causes a lot of plastic pollution in the oceans. Tourists leave plastic waste on beaches, which is then carried out to sea by the wind, for example. In coastal regions or countries that do not have a regulated and strict waste disposal system, plastic is often disposed of illegally and then ends up directly in the sea. Waste thrown overboard from cruise ships and cargo ships also causes unnecessary pollution. Lost or discarded fishing nets or other equipment from fishing boats not only cause plastic pollution, but also uncontrolled floating nets in which marine animals can become entangled and die a cruel death. Microplastics also end up in the oceans in large quantities. What is the difference between microplastics and macroplastics, and what different effects do the two types have? The difference lies in the size of the plastic particles and their origin. Macroplastics refer to larger plastic parts that are visible, such as plastic bags, plastic cups, bottles, packaging material, or even fishing nets, which also consist of plastic fibers. Microplastics refer to tiny plastic particles that are less than 5 millimeters in size. They can also be so small that they are difficult or impossible to see with the naked eye. When it comes to microplastics, we differentiate between primary and secondary microplastics. Primary microplastics are produced intentionally. For example, they include industrial plastics such as granules used to manufacture products or fibers from synthetic clothing, such as polyester, that are released during washing. Plastics can also be found in many cosmetic products around the world, such as peelings, shampoo, creams, or toothpaste, which then end up in the wastewater when washed or rinsed. However, many countries have already issued bans on this. In the European Union, there has been a ban on the sale of cosmetic products containing microbeads since October 2023. Secondary microplastics are created involuntarily by the decomposition of larger plastic parts due to environmental influences, such as UV radiation, salinity, or waves in the sea, by the decomposition of fishing nets, or the mechanical abrasion of car tires. The effects of this plastic pollution are manifold. Marine animals such as fish, turtles, and birds mistake plastic for food, which can lead to blockage of the digestive tract or internal injuries. Whales and dolphins get caught in old fishing nets and drown because they can no longer reach the surface of the sea, or they injure themselves trying to free themselves and amputate their fins. Animals starve because their freedom of movement is restricted by the nets, and they can no longer search for food. Habitats are destroyed because the waste destroys ecosystems such as coral reefs. Corals are damaged or torn off or suffocated by the plastic. Plastic absorbs pollutants such as pesticides and heavy metals from the environment. When animals eat plastic, they ingest these pollutants, affecting their reproductive ability, immune system, and behavior. This brings us to the effects on humans. Plastic, with all of its pollutants, is not only eaten directly by animals. Microplastics are ingested by tiny organisms such as plankton. These animals are the basis of the food chain. When fish that eat plankton are in turn eaten by larger fish caught by fishing companies, these pollutants end up on our dinner tables. So far, there is evidence of possible health damage from microplastics to humans. However, there is not yet enough data to be able to conclusively assess the exact risks. Solutions must therefore be found to combat the ever-increasing pollution of the oceans. Plastic consumption would have to be reduced significantly, for example through reusable products such as reusable mugs or bottles. Even better would certainly be to completely do without plastic, or at least single-use plastic such as plastic bags or straws or similar. The development of alternative materials or the development of biodegradable plastics should be promoted more. Considerations about the use of natural materials, such as bamboo or paper, should be given more consideration. Waste management in many countries needs to be improved, and an efficient waste collection system needs to be established. Recycling systems also need to be expanded, and sewage treatment plants need to be modernized to filter microplastics from wastewater. Education and awareness raising in schools and the media are also very important. There are now companies that are pursuing technological approaches. For example, floating barriers are used to collect plastic from the ocean surface. There are also regular volunteer campaigns to clean beaches of plastic. International cooperation is necessary to convince people of the need for regulatory measures, especially in areas where there may not be such an awareness of the problem. In the long term, The situation can only improve if there is an awareness of the necessary action from individuals to international organizations and political government associations, thus making the oceans clean and healthy habitats again. Feel free to subscribe to our channel for more knowledge-based content and leave a like.